Hey guys, it's Fresh Mark Sense with another fresh review. Today I've got 6 different fragrances for you which are masculine with some warmth. Now you can use this from fall all the way to autumn and winter, but I wouldn't really use them in the summer. But for these interchangeable months where things are a little bit cold and it's starting to warm up but it's not really quite there, use this if you want to add some warmth while having a masculine edge. Let's check it out. The first fragrance I want to review is Azzaro Pour Homme for Men Intense. Now this is a brandy, Haitian vetiver and cinnamon scent. When I spray this, the sweetness of the brandy comes out, but that original Azzaro Pour Homme leathery gasoline DNA is reduced to a more wearable leather, brandy and vetiver scent. Very sweet, but it still has that masculine edge with the musk from the original Azzaro Pour Homme DNA, which is a little bit funky, but it works well with the brandy and the Haitian vetiver to really smooth it out. So that is the first one that I'd recommend. The ciliage is great on this, arm's width, and the projection on this, I'd give it about a good 5 to 6 hours of projection, and the longevity after that, I'd say it'd stay about 9 hours in the skin, 7 to 9 hours in the skin. It's a very old school yet masculine scent with a sweet twist to modernize it for this day and age. For people who don't like completely gasoline leather but still want a musky masculine edge on their perfume, check it out, Azzaro Pour Homme Intense. Next fragrance I'll be talking about is Gentleman Only Absolute by Givenchy. Now this opens up with a very juicy, sweet, slightly metallic bergamot note, which opens up to the sweetness of cinnamon, a little bit of rough nutmeg, and you get the sweeter tendencies of saffron. Not too much of the darker notes of saffron, not too resinous or spicy like that. I almost thought that there was some frankincense in there, but that is actually the smoothness of the vanilla and sandalwood in the base working its way to give a rough yet sweet texture with that saffron. The nutmeg plays its part beautifully in giving a more rounded spicy effect, and it's simply fantastic if you want something that creates warmth, a juicy, a cool and a hot effect whilst having a high quality sandalwood. So this is fantastic in fall. Also you can just about get away with it on a summer night because the juicy notes of the bergamot, let me just spray this somewhere on me so I can, yes, the juicy notes of the bergamot open up to the sweetness of cinnamon. So originally you'd think that bergamot would not mix with cinnamon, but the juicy fruity note of bergamot, almost like a lime, when contrasted with the cinnamon, it really opens up that whole cool and spicy divide and contrast. So it's fantastic. You've got to try this in the store if you want some smooth sandalwood, a quality scent for the warmer months, and if it's a little bit warm you could still wear it at the same time, but it's great for those transitional months where you don't know whether it's going to be hot or cold, which is pretty much every day in Britain. So check out Gentleman Only Absolute. I'm lucky to be blessed with some good weather right now, but before it was a bit colder, so I didn't know what was going on myself, so I made a video for these colder months that suddenly turned out to be quite warm while I'm talking about it. But anyway, for something a little bit sweeter that you could get away with when it does rise in heat, this is John Varvatos Oud. It comes with a very nice cap, but I was so eager to spray it, I just took it off straight away. But that cap is very nice, very regal. But enough about that, because it's not really about the bottle, it's about the scent. This has a beautiful clove, cinnamon, Turkish rose, has a bit of rum. It has those oud, algarwood notes. So many notes I can't even note them off the top of my head, but I noticed that it has a little bit kick. It has a little bit of a kick from the clove in the beginning, then it smoothens down to a sweet, almost like 1 million cinnamon liqueur gold dust vibe, and you're getting that a little bit of the sweetness of a Turkish delight kind of rose. It's a Moroccan rose note, so it's slightly sweetened, slightly spicy, effervescent, mixes very well with that whole gold dust, shiny, resinous, incensey. It's almost like frankincense, but it's lighter. It's like a frankincense incense, but not the rocks in itself, not the hard resinous qualities. It's very light, sweet, and the longevity of this may not be all that. I'd say it would be like 5 hours, 6 hours, but really I don't care with this one, because this is such a nice scent. I wouldn't mind reapplying. This came out very expensive in the beginning, like 50 £50, whatever. So that was John Varvatos Oud. Definitely a more mature version of 1 million if I was to pick between the two. It has a similar 1 million gold dust vibe, but more of a kick from the clove and more of a sweet rose note. That is, I'd say it's a superior scent, but for people who like more longevity, go for 1 million Privé. But for me, this is gold dust. It's fantastic. Gold Oud. Now the next one I'll be talking about is Gucci Intense Oud. This is something I recently picked up, and frankincense, woody notes, a bit of patchouli, great patchouli, and it's just fantastic. When I'm mixing the saffron, patchouli, other woody notes, argo wood, and yes, if you go on to other websites, you'd find more notes for this that include the pear as well. So you get a little bit of the fruitiness of the pear mixed with saffron. So you definitely do get the pear, even if you smell it off the top. And it's that mix of pear and frankincense. Really, I should spray it over here. It's that mix of pear and frankincense. Originally, you smell the leather in the straight off the top, but then that settles down into the base notes. And this, wow, oh wow! In the beginning, it really packs a punch with that frankincense and pear and oud combination. So you get sweet, spicy, bitter, woody oud, and then it goes leathery. But all in all, it dries down to a very masculine scent. I believe it also has some Bulgarian rose in it as well, which makes it more creamy and smoother on the dry down with the woody notes. So it's definitely a very masculine scent, but with complex notes. If you were to just list the notes like, oh, pear, saffron, whatever, you'd think it's a fruity and woody mix, but it's nothing like that. It has some bitter, dark, resinous frankincense, smoky characteristic, smoky off the top, leathery in the dry down, little bit creamy from the Bulgarian rose, and the patchouli is more of a dark wood in here. I love the mix of dark woods in here with dark woods and patchouli. So the patchouli note in here is a dark woody note mixed with the argo wood and with oud wood, let's say, and frankincense for a more resinous, spicy touch. It almost comes off as balsamic with the woody and spicy oud mixed with the pear. It's that sweetness mixed with the sourness of the oud. It almost comes off as balsamic, but before it gets too deep like that, the sweetness of the saffron picks up. So I love the duality of the fragrance, that there's dark patchouli wood and bitter argo wood, and then there's light saffron, pear and Bulgarian rose to make things creamy and soft. So it definitely has a duality, and throughout the day of wearing it, about 7 hours and about, I'd say this doesn't project that much. In the first 2 hours you get good projection, but in the next 4 hours that you be wearing it, it slowly dries down from being about sort of like a elbows width to a skin scent. But it's a very nice, mature, spicy, woody, macho scent. It has that, it's not too overbearing, but it definitely has a beautiful warmth to it. So Gucci Intense Oud, definitely recommend that. And the last one, the next perfume I'm talking about is Oud Exclusive by Mancera. Now this opens up with a punchy, spicy saffron pepper and cumin black pepper mix. Then it opens up in the mid to some sweet Bulgarian rose with creamy violet and a little bit of patchouli leaf. And after this patchouli leaf you get a base of oud and oriental notes. Now these oriental notes, I believe, are further notes of cumin, some dry sweet herbaceous fennel note. It seems like roasted fennel because it's dry, sweet, a little bit herbal. You got some cumin, you got the roasted fennel seed, and you got some what I believe is paprika. Now I mix spices a lot in my own cooking. I cook curry, whatever, and I mix all of these spices, so I remember the smell of roasted fennels when my mother used to cook before she cooks a very special meal. She wants it to be more aromatic and spicy. But this roasted fennel note is sweet, herbaceous, and a little bit spicy. So I find that on a cold day, the warmth of these notes, slightly spicy and sour notes with the oud, would come out to give a more complex warmth than your regular cinnamon and sandalwood combination. And on a warm day, the sweetness of the Bulgarian rose will come out, and just a light spiciness from this will come out. So I like how it's very restrained, and this is probably the more medicinal of the lot. It comes up a little bit more medicinal. It has a slight medicinal oud note on it, but it's not too overpowering. But I would apply lightly because Mancera fragrances have a strong pungency to it. And another fragrance I would say that you could wear in the colder months, coming a little bit warmer, when it only gets a little bit warmer, is Red Tobacco. This is a winter bomb. This is like you wear this and like the whole room would smell of it. I'm just gonna wear a little bit. I've never worn this in heat like this. It's going up and down, cold hot. But I get tobacco, plum, that apple, pear, saffron, great woody notes, very nice, a little bit of jasmine in there for very uplifting. This jasmine is actually coming out quite a lot in the heat, which is very strange because we've had a day where it's been no sun, and then this is the day that I'm talking about, the kind of days where it's not warm, but the sun is out, so it keeps on going on and off, but it never really gets warm, and you'd still need a jacket when you're going out. So this comes out when the sun hits it, the jasmine comes up, and when it's colder and you don't get any sun, but it's the temperature is down because the wind is blowing, you get the warmer notes or the sweeter notes of plum and fruity notes of apple. Now I would only spray, I would, don't call me a sissy, but I would be light on the sprays of this one, because this is heavy. You would, I mean, this still hasn't dried down on my hand, and it's been about 30 seconds and it's still oiling up my hand. And if I mix this, I mix one spray all over the neck, 2 wrists, down on both jeans, the collar of my jacket, the back of my collar, and I still got oil on my hand. I mean, I don't know what to do with it, but spray lightly. So some fragrances you really should spray lightly, and if you don't want to overbear anyone, but this dries down to a beautiful vanilla in the base, and I'm really surprised that this is coming off so sweet. In the summer, this is almost resinously sweet, like amber, and I've never experienced this before. I thought completely avoid it in the summer, and I started making a video about cold weather, and it slowly heated up, and it's a sunny day now. So I've tested it in conditions that I wouldn't even do myself, and I'm genuinely surprised. This is coming off like plum and vanilla, with the jasmine really supercharged. I get the pear and apple. This is completely surprising because in winter this is a very spicy scent with the tobacco. I'm not even getting much tobacco. The tobacco, if anything, is more of a slight leather note with a hayish tobacco. Nowhere as deep and smoky as it was before. So that is very interesting. Red tobacco in the summer or warmer weather, it's still okay. If you get caught out on a day where it's cold and it suddenly warms up a little bit, but it's not exactly burning outside or baking, you can get away with red tobacco in the transitional months. So that is my last fragrance I'm going to talk about, which are masculine fragrances with some warmth that you can wear in the colder months, but just about get away with in the summer if it heats up, if you're lucky enough. So fingers crossed for some good weather, but I hope you try all of these fragrances and let me know what you think in the summer, because I'm very surprised that this has turned out as fruity as it is now on my hand. So I will definitely check that out. I'm getting more of almost like a jammy rose now. It's fantastically different and changeable. So definitely let me know what you guys think about these fragrances in the cold weather, and if these fragrances have suited you when you come out in the cold and suddenly it's warmed up a little bit, but you still feel okay wearing them because they are so versatile. So these are your transitional saviors, let's say, in between the cold and the hot weather. When you really don't know what perfume to wear, these ones will save you. So take care. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Take care and stay fresh.